The Queen stood on the bridge of her massive warship, looking out at the stars. Claire Harrison had led humans for years, and she knew every choice she made could save lives or cost them. Scouts had reported strange movements in the Middle-earth sector of the galaxy. Ships gathered in massive formations, far larger than anything humans had faced before. Claire could feel the tension in her chest as she called her generals to the command room. Lucas Hayden entered first. He was tall, with sharp eyes that seemed to calculate every possible outcome. Mia Williams followed, her armor clinking softly. She was known for her courage and skill in battle. Claire looked at them both and said, "We have no time to waste. Scouts report enemy forces moving fast. Our colonies could be in danger in ours. We strike first, or we wait and lose everything." Lucas nodded. "Claire," she said, "we have the technology and the skill. If we act carefully, we can hit their advance and protect the colonies." Mia added, "We need soldiers on the ground too. If we wait for them to come, civilians will die." Claire agreed. She called Ethan Cole and Rachel Bradley, two of the best commanders for the frontline assault. Ethan was steady and precise, Rachel fast and clever. They gathered their squads and checked weapons and vehicles. The hangar was full of soldiers preparing for deployment. The air was tense, every human knowing what was at stake. The warship left orbit, engines burning bright as it moved toward the edge of the contested system. Scouts in smaller ships moved ahead, scanning for enemy positions. Claire stayed on the bridge, watching every movement. She knew this would be the first true test of their courage and unity. On a barren planet below, humans began to land. Vehicles rolled across dry soil, soldiers moving in formation. Ethan and Rachel led their teams, setting up defensive positions while awaiting further orders. Lucas and Mia coordinated from above, sending instructions and monitoring enemy activity. The humans faced larger numbers, but relied on strategy and coordination to stay ahead. Hours passed with tension building. Scouts sent images of the enemy forces. They were not uniform. Humans could see the size and structure of their ships, the weapons they carried. Claire studied the images. She thought about the colonies, the people depending on her decisions. She felt the weight of leadership, but also the determination to protect her people. The first skirmish began when enemy fighters attacked the scouts. Ethan and Rachel led counterattacks using speed and clever maneuvers. Humans showed courage, holding their positions despite being outnumbered. Explosions shook the ground, and smoke filled the air. Soldiers yelled commands, and guns fired in controlled bursts. Humans were not just fighting for territory, but for survival. Claire watched as her people proved their bravery. She felt pride, but knew the war had only begun. Lucas called in reinforcements to support Ethan and Rachel. Mia moved among the squads, encouraging soldiers and giving quick tactical advice. Every human was vital. The Queen understood that leadership meant being present and decisive. As night fell on the barren planet, humans held the field. They had not defeated the enemy completely, but they had stopped the first wave. Soldiers tended to the wounded, repaired vehicles, and fortified positions. Claire addressed her people through comms, telling them to rest and prepare for what was next. Her voice was calm but firm, inspiring confidence. Around the planet, the stars shone like silent witnesses to the war. Humans had taken the first step, showing that courage and strategy could match the enemy's numbers. Claire knew this was only the beginning. The war would be long and hard, but humans would not falter. She looked at her generals and soldiers and said silently, "We will protect our people. We will fight. We will survive." The sun rose over the barren planet, casting long shadows across the battlefield. Humans moved quickly, repairing vehicles, checking weapons, and preparing for the next wave of attacks. Claire Harrison watched from her warship, calm and focused. The Queen knew the enemy would not wait. They were strong and organized, but humans had something more: courage and determination. Lucas Hayden analyzed the enemy formations on the screens. He noticed patterns in their movement. They were confident but predictable. He turned to Mia Williams and said, "We can use their overconfidence against them. We will hit them where they least expect it." Mia nodded and immediately began organizing squads for a strike. Ethan Cole and Rachel Bradley led their soldiers across the rocky terrain. The humans moved in stealth, hiding behind craters and ridges. They approached enemy outposts, careful not to reveal their presence. Suddenly, enemy fighters appeared, patrolling patrolling the area. Ethan signaled his team, and they used quick, precise attacks to disable the patrols. The humans struck fast and disappeared before the enemy could react fully. Back on the warship, Claire coordinated with the strike teams. She gave orders to support the ground forces with airstrikes and supply drops. Lucas calculated the enemy's weak points, and Mia relayed the instructions to the soldiers on the ground. Every action was planned, every movement measured. Humans were small in number, but unmatched in strategy. The first real battle began when enemy forces discovered a hidden human squad. The soldiers held their ground, firing from fortified positions. Explosions shook the ground, dust filling the air. Ethan and Rachel led counterattacks, using agility and clever tactics to surprise the enemy. Humans moved quickly, targeting the strongest fighters first and weakening their formations. Soldiers like Ben Carter and Lila Sims showed remarkable bravery. They carried supplies, defended positions, and rescued wounded teammates under heavy fire. The humans fought not only with weapons, but with teamwork and trust. Every soldier knew their role, and every move counted. The Queen watched with pride, knowing these small victories mattered. The enemy regrouped and launched a larger assault. Vehicles rumbled across the landscape, and fighters swarmed from the sky. Humans met them with precision. Lucas had prepared traps, ambush points, and defensive lines. Soldiers moved in coordinated waves, striking with timing and force. The battlefield was chaotic, but humans stayed focused. Each strike weakened the enemy, forcing them back. Mia led a daring mission to capture an enemy communication post. Her team moved silently, taking down guards and seizing the equipment. They sent vital information back to Claire, revealing enemy plans and positions. This intelligence allowed humans to anticipate attacks and save many lives. The Queen smiled slightly, knowing that clever strategy could turn the tide even against overwhelming odds. As the day ended, humans held their ground. It pushed back enemy forces, captured key positions, and gained valuable intelligence. Soldiers tended to their wounded and repaired equipment. Ethan and Rachel debriefed their teams, praising their courage and resilience. Morale was high despite exhaustion. Claire addressed all the soldiers through the comm system. Her voice was firm and confident. She told them that every small victory mattered, that humanity's strength came from unity, courage, and clever thinking. The Queen reminded them that the war was far from over, but each human action built the foundation for a greater victory. The humans had proved their skill, bravery, and determination. The war had begun, and they were ready to face it head-on. The battlefield was quiet at first light, but the calm did not last. Claire Harrison knew danger could come from anywhere. Scouts reported that a human colonel, Noah Thorne, had betrayed their side. He had given the enemy secret information that could cost lives. Claire felt anger and disappointment. Noah had once been trusted, and now he was a threat. She called Lucas Hayden and Mia Williams to discuss the new intelligence. Lucas studied the reports. Claire, he said, Noah has revealed their next targets. If we do not act fast, several colonies will fall. Mia looked determined. We have to strike first and stop his plans. We cannot let one traitor destroy everything humans have built. Ethan Cole and Rachel Bradley received orders to lead teams to intercept enemy forces and protect the colonies. The soldiers packed their gear, loaded vehicles, and prepared for the long march. Civilians were evacuated from vulnerable areas, guided by other humans like Ben Carter and Lila Sims. The humans worked together, every person knowing the stakes. The first ambush occurred near a rocky canyon. Enemy soldiers and vehicles appeared suddenly, using the terrain to their advantage. Ethan and Rachel directed their squads into defensive positions. Humans fired carefully, using traps and calculated strikes. Explosions shook the canyon walls. Smoke filled the air, but the soldiers stayed focused, following their orders with precision. Mia and Lucas monitored the battle from the command ship. They coordinated reinforcements, directing squads to weak points. Humans were outnumbered, but their teamwork and strategy allowed them to hold the line. Soldiers like Ryan Hayes and Anna Willis fought bravely, protecting their teammates and stopping enemy advances. As the day went on, humans began to push the enemy back. The ground was torn by explosions, vehicles damaged, and fires burned in the distance. Humans took risks, using clever tactics to confuse the enemy. They set traps, created fake movements, and attacked from unexpected angles. Every small victory mattered and boosted morale. In one critical moment, a group of enemy soldiers attempted to surround Ethan's squad. Rachel noticed the maneuver and led a counterattack, breaking the enemy line. The humans then captured important supplies and information. Claire reviewed the reports and smiled slightly. Even in difficult situations, humans could adapt and succeed. The betrayal of Noah Thorne remained a shadow over the humans. He was still at large, working with enemy forces. Claire decided to send a special team to track him down. Lucas and Mia volunteered to lead this mission, knowing it would be dangerous. Ethan, Rachel, and other skilled soldiers prepared to support them if needed. As night fell, humans regrouped on the battlefield. The wounded were treated and soldiers took turns keeping watch. Claire addressed the people through the CUM system. She said every human had shown courage and loyalty. Even in the face of betrayal and overwhelming odds, they had fought for each other and for their homes. The first victories had been hard-won, but they proved humans could face treachery, danger, and large enemy forces. Claire knew this was only the beginning, but she also knew that humans were stronger than anyone had imagined. She looked at Lucas and Mia and said quietly, "We will find Noah, we will stop him, and we will win this war." Humans had endured their first great test and had survived, ready for what was to come. The morning was cold and clear. Claire Harrison traveled to the frontline colonies, determined to rally humans and boost morale. She walked among the soldiers and civilians, speaking to them directly. Her presence inspired courage and confidence. People like Benjamin Keller and Hannah Price listened carefully, ready to defend their homes and families. Lucas Hayden studied the battlefield from the command ship, looking for weak points in enemy positions. He spoke with Mia Williams, who was training new recruits in guerrilla tactics. Claire knew that ordinary citizens could make a difference, so she encouraged them to take part in the defense. Civilians learned to set traps, defend key areas, and communicate quickly with soldiers. Everyone had a role to play. Ethan Cole and Rachel Bradley led squads to protect critical supply routes. They moved fast, using cover and careful coordination to avoid ambushes. Humans worked together, covering each other and sharing resources. Their teamwork made them strong, even against larger enemy forces. As the enemy advanced, humans executed clever strategies. Lucas directed air support and supply drops to the soldiers on the ground. Traps and ambushes slowed enemy movements, causing confusion and delays. Humans fought with precision, striking only when it would make the most difference. Every move was calculated to maximize impact while minimizing loss. Mia led civilians in defensive drills, showing them how to protect themselves and support soldiers. She taught them to identify enemy weaknesses and use the terrain to their advantage. Soon, the colonies became organized, each person knowing their role in the larger battle. Claire watched from above, proud of the unity humans displayed. The enemy tried to break human lines with a sudden assault. Vehicles charged forward, soldiers ran with weapons ready. Ethan and Rachel coordinated counterattacks, striking from multiple directions. Humans used speed and agility to overcome enemy numbers. Explosions rocked the ground, but the humans held their positions. Benjamin Keller led a group of volunteers to reinforce a weak section of the colony. They fought bravely, keeping enemy forces from breaking through. Hannah Price carried supplies to soldiers under fire, ensuring that everyone had the tools needed to continue the fight. The civilians proved that courage was not limited to trained soldiers. As the day ended, humans had regained several strategic points. The colonies were safer, and morale was higher than ever. Claire addressed all the people through communication channels, praising their courage and determination. She reminded them that unity was their greatest strength, and that every human action mattered. Lucas and Mia began planning the next phase of the campaign. They studied enemy movements and prepared strategies to weaken them further. Ethan and Rachel trained soldiers for the battles ahead, ensuring they were ready for any challenge. Humans had learned that they could face overwhelming odds with skill, courage, and teamwork. Claire looked at the people around her, knowing that the war was far from over. She said silently to herself that humans would fight, survive, and win. The colonies stood strong, ready for the next assault. Humans had begun to show the enemy that they were not weak, that every citizen, soldier, and leader could make a difference. The war was still ahead, but humans were prepared, united, and determined to protect their home. The enemy had gathered its full strength and launched a massive assault on the central human stronghold. Humans braced for impact. Claire Harrison coordinated from the command center, giving clear orders to every unit. Soldiers and civilians alike prepared for the fiercest battle they had faced so far. Ethan Cole and Rachel Bradley led squads to defend the main gates. Vehicles roared across the ground, and soldiers fired strategically to slow the enemy advance. Explosions shook the earth as projectiles hit walls and defenses. Humans fought fiercely, using the terrain and fortifications to their advantage. Every strike was calculated to inflict maximum damage on the enemy while protecting the stronghold. Lucas Hayden analyzed the enemy movements from the command ship. He noticed patterns and weak points in the enemy formation. He relayed instructions to frontline commanders, coordinating reinforcements and defensive maneuvers. Mia Williams moved among soldiers, giving tactical advice and encouraging them to stay focused despite the overwhelming odds. Benjamin Keller and Hannah Price led groups of civilians to help strengthen the walls and bring ammunition to soldiers. Their bravery inspired others to join in. Humans showed that defense was not only about soldiers, but about the entire community working together. The enemy pressed harder, sending elite squads to break human lines. Ethan and Rachel led counterattacks, using speed and surprise to defeat enemy units. Humans moved in coordinated waves, striking at multiple points at the same time. Explosions and smoke filled the battlefield, but humans maintained order and focus. Claire personally supervised the defense, making quick decisions and adjusting strategies in real time. She sent squads to intercept enemy reinforcements and used air support to target their command points. Every human on the battlefield knew that they had to fight not just for victory, but for survival. Soldiers like Ryan Hayes and Leela Sims performed heroic actions. They rescued wounded comrades, carried ammunition under fire, and blocked enemy advances. Humans showed that courage and teamwork could overcome even the strongest enemy attacks. The morale of the soldiers and civilians remained high, even in the chaos of battle. The fight continued for hours. The enemy tried every tactic to break the human defenses, but humans adapted quickly. Lucas and Mia anticipated enemy movements, guiding their teams to counter every move. Humans were smaller in number, but their coordination, strategy, and determination gave them an advantage. As night fell, the battle reached a temporary pause. Humans had held the stronghold despite the relentless assault. They had lost lives, but they had also proven that they could defend their home against overwhelming forces. Soldiers tended to the wounded, repaired damaged vehicles, and fortified positions for the next attack. Claire addressed everyone through the comm system. Her voice was strong and determined. She praised the courage and skill of every human, reminding them that unity and teamwork were the keys to survival. She told them that the enemy would continue to challenge them, but humans had shown that they could face any threat. The stronghold stood firm, a symbol of human resilience and determination. Humans were ready for the battles ahead, united and prepared to fight for their future. Claire Harrison knew that the next step was crucial. Humans had held their stronghold, but the enemy was still dangerous. Lucas Hayden and Mia Williams proposed a strike on the enemy's hidden base. They believed that if humans could neutralize it, the enemy would lose coordination and morale. Claire agreed and began planning the mission. Ethan Cole and Rachel Bradley led squads to gather intelligence near the enemy lines. They moved silently, observing patrols and security systems. Humans used clever tactics to avoid detection. They marked weak points and noted enemy routines. Every detail counted because a small mistake could cost lives. Mia led a group of elite soldiers to infiltrate the base. They moved through forests and rocky terrain, hiding from enemy patrols. Humans were small in number, but skilled in strategy. They used traps and ambushes to neutralize enemy guards quietly. Ethan and Rachel provided backup from nearby positions, ready to strike if the enemy detected them. Lucas monitored the mission from the command ship. He guided the strike team using drones and surveillance. Claire coordinated reinforcements and prepared the main forces to support the team. If the enemy reacted aggressively, every human was focused on the objective: weaken the enemy and gain critical intelligence. The strike team reached the base. Explosions rocked the structure as humans attacked key points. They moved fast, taking down enemy systems and capturing information. The battle inside the base was intense. Humans fought hand-to-hand when necessary and used clever maneuvers to overcome larger enemy numbers. Soldiers like Ryan Hayes and Leela Sims performed heroic actions, covering teammates and securing vital objectives. Ethan and Rachel led a counterattack when enemy reinforcements approached. Humans used the environment to their advantage, striking from hidden positions and drawing enemies into traps. Smoke and fire filled the battlefield, but humans stayed focused on their mission. Every action was calculated and precise. Claire observed the progress and made adjustments. She sent air support to distract enemy reinforcements and keep the strike team safe. Lucas directed squads to intercept enemy movements, while Mia ensured the team maintained cohesion. Humans demonstrated ingenuity, courage, and teamwork, proving that strategy could overcome numbers. The strike team captured the central command systems of the enemy base. It downloaded critical data revealing enemy plans and weak points. Humans had turned the enemy's strength against them. The information allowed Claire to plan future operations and anticipate attacks. As humans retreated from the base, they faced enemy resistance. Ethan and Rachel led the squads in a final push, using clever tactics and coordinated attacks. Humans fought with precision and courage, ensuring that every teammate returned safely. The base was destroyed and the enemy lost critical resources and coordination. Claire addressed all humans after the mission. Her voice was firm and inspiring. She praised the courage, skill, and teamwork of every soldier and civilian involved. Humans had shown that they could face strong enemies, overcome challenges, and turn the tide of battle. The Queen reminded them that the final confrontation was near, that their unity, intelligence, and bravery would decide the war. Humans had taken a decisive step forward, showing that they could fight and win against overwhelming odds. The final battle was near. Claire Harrison gathered her strike team on the command ship. Lucas Hayden, Mia Williams, Ethan Cole, and Rachel Bradley prepared for the most dangerous mission yet. Humans were going to board the enemy command ship and end the war. Every soldier knew that success depended on courage, skill, and teamwork. The human fleet approached the enemy command ship. Massive explosions and energy fire lit the space around them. Humans moved carefully, avoiding enemy traps. Claire led from the front, guiding the team as they prepared boarding craft. Every step required focus and precision. Humans could not afford mistakes. The boarding began. Ethan and Rachel led their squads through narrow corridors, encountering enemy soldiers at every turn. They fought fiercely, using speed, strategy, and teamwork to overcome larger numbers. Explosions shook the ship, but humans advanced steadily. Every room taken brought them closer to the command center. Lucas guided the team, analyzing enemy movements and giving instructions to maximize their chances. Mia led attacks on key positions, disabling security systems and opening paths for others. Humans moved like a single unit, each soldier supporting the next. Bravery and skill kept them alive. Benjamin Keller and Hannah Price, assigned to secure supply lines and help wounded, moved swiftly through the ship. They carried ammunition and medical supplies under heavy fire. Humans demonstrated that every role was vital, from frontline fighters to support teams. Finally, the strike team reached the command center. The enemy commander prepared to fight, but humans had learned their weaknesses. Ethan and Rachel led a precise attack, disabling key defenses. Lucas and Mia coordinated strikes, cutting off enemy reinforcements. Claire confronted the commander, her presence inspiring the team and intimidating the enemy. The fight was intense. Humans used every skill, every tactic they had learned. Hand-to-hand combat mixed with explosions and gunfire. The commander fell, and remaining enemy forces retreated. Humans had taken control of the ship, securing victory through courage, unity, and strategy. As humans returned to their fleet, Claire addressed all soldiers and civilians. Her voice was strong and proud. She praised bravery, teamwork, and intelligence. Humans had faced overwhelming odds, fought through danger, and triumphed. The war was over, and humanity had proven that they could survive and win against any threat. The victory was not without cost. Lives were lost, and scars remained, but humans had shown resilience and determination. The colonies were safe, the fleet was secure, and humans had earned respect across the galaxy. Claire looked at her team and her people, knowing that unity, courage, and strategy had won the day. Humans had endured, fought, and emerged victorious, ready to protect their home and build a stronger future.